Today, we're going to talk about a risk that isn't knocking at your door because it's already inside, probably using your Wi-Fi right now. It's called shadow AI, and believe me, it's one of the biggest unseen challenges for businesses today. So let's break down exactly what it is, and more importantly, why you need to be paying attention to it. We spend so much time and money worrying about external threats, right? Building firewalls and defending against attacks from the outside. But what if the biggest AI risk to your company isn't some hacker trying to break in? What if it's already on your network, sitting in on your meetings, and helping draft your projects?
Well, that risk has a name: shadow AI. To put it simply, it's any AI tool that your employees are using without the official green light from IT. I'm talking about things like using personal ChatGPT accounts for work, or marketing teams firing up some unvetted image generator, or even developers pasting bits of company code into a public AI assistant. It's AI operating completely in the dark.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this sounds a lot like shadow IT, and you're not wrong, but it's a whole different ballgame. We're used to the idea of someone downloading an unapproved app. That's a manual process. It usually leaves a trail. Shadow AI, it's instant. It happens with a single prompt in a web browser. And the scary part is, it's practically invisible, hiding inside application logs looking like normal user activity. That makes it way faster, much stealthier, and a whole lot harder to track. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into just how big this unseen revolution really is. Then, we'll look at why it's happening, and the answer might surprise you. After that, we'll cover the really high cost of letting this all run wild. And then, we'll pivot to the solution, a playbook for bringing AI out of the shadows and turning it into a safe, powerful tool for your whole team. So, let's start with the big question. Just how widespread is this whole phenomenon? Well, get ready for this. The heart of the problem is this massive disconnect. It turns out, employees are using AI tools 3 times more often than their bosses think they are. So while leadership is planning some slow, controlled rollout of AI, their teams are already in the middle of a full-blown revolution. And that creates a huge, dangerous blind spot right in the middle of the organization. So why? Why is this happening everywhere? It's easy to just label it as people breaking the rules, but the real motivation is usually way more practical than that. This quote really just nails it. The rise of shadow AI isn't an act of rebellion. It's a cry for help. It's a huge signal from your team that they're trying to hit their deadlines and do their best work, but the official tools you've given them just aren't cutting it anymore. They're reaching for outside AI simply because they're trying to find a better, faster way to get their job done. And please, don't make the mistake of thinking this is just a Gen Z thing. This bring your own AI trend is everywhere, across every generation. I mean, yes, a staggering 85% of Gen Z are using unauthorized AI. But look at this, so are 78% of millennials and nearly 3/4 of boomers. This is not a youth trend, it's a fundamental workforce transformation. Okay, now for the wake-up call. All this employee-led innovation, as well-intentioned as it is, comes with a very steep and often hidden price tag. So, what's the real cost? Well, it starts with data exposure. A massive 77% of employees have admitted to pasting company data. We're talking internal documents, customer info, maybe even source code, directly into public AI tools. The moment that happens, your data has left the building. Period. And let's be clear, this is not some theoretical what-if risk. It's happening. Right now. 1 in 5 organizations has already had a data breach directly because of unsanctioned AI use. The threat is already here. And when those breaches do happen, they hit the bottom line hard. A data breach caused by shadow AI costs, on average, an extra $670,000 to fix compared to a typical breach. And you want to know why? Because when you have no idea what tools are being used, the investigation and cleanup becomes an absolute nightmare. And hey, if the cost of a data breach isn't enough to get your attention, regulators are definitely stepping in. The EU AI Act is setting a new global standard. By August 2026, any company using AI for high-risk stuff like hiring or credit scoring has to be fully compliant. And there's no way you can prove compliance for tools you don't even know your team is using. The clock is officially ticking. Okay, so we've established the problem. It's widespread, it's risky, and it's expensive. But the answer is not to try and ban AI. That's a losing battle. The real answer is to bring it out of the shadows and build a safe, governed framework around it. Just look at this slide. It lays out the 2 paths you can take. Over on the left, you've got the chaos of unmanaged shadow AI. We're talking higher breach costs, regulatory fines, and totally unreliable outputs. But on the right, You have a governed AI strategy. That means enterprise-grade security, built-in compliance, full visibility with audit trails, and vetted, consistent results. The choice is pretty clear. It's about transforming that chaotic energy into real, sustainable innovation. So, how do you actually get there? How do you make that happen? Let's walk through an actionable playbook that can guide that transition. A successful migration really has 5 key phases. It all starts with discovery. You have to find out what tools your team is actually using, and just as important, why they're using them. From there, you move to evaluation, where you score those tools based on their business value versus their security risk. Then you build the framework. This is where you create a governance committee and set clear data standards. After that, it's all about execution, rolling out sanctioned, safe alternatives and training everybody on how to use them. And finally, and this is so important, is continuous improvement. This is not a one-and-done fix. It's a living cycle of monitoring and updating your strategy as you go. Now, your playbook needs a simple policy that people can actually remember and follow. It boils down to a few really key rules. First, the public post test. It's simple. If you wouldn't post it on a public forum, do not paste it into an AI. Second, explicitly forbid sensitive data. Client info, PII, source code, all of it. Third, you have to require a human to review every single AI output before it's used. Fourth, make it crystal clear that the user is accountable, not the tool. And finally, you have to train your people. Over half of all employees have zero AI training. That's not acceptable. You have to make it mandatory. And that brings us back to where we started, with a big question. Shadow AI has proven that the AI revolution is already here, whether it was on the guest list or not. So the choice for every single organization is no longer if AI will be used, but how. Are you going to fight a losing battle against it? Or are you going to build the guardrails to lead it and turn that hidden risk into what could be your greatest competitive advantage?